What's up, my beautiful family? It's High Energy Tuesday. Let's go. I love storytelling, and I am fascinated by all the stories that I hear from others. The reason why is because as we listen to the story of others, we can draw from familiar points that are inspirational to us because we can identify with it, we can connect with it. One story that I love listening to over and over is the story of Kobe Bryant. I was listening to an interview that he was doing, and he was asked a question about feeling the pressure when all of the weight of the game is on his shoulders, when he's there to take the last shot, and the difference between winning or losing is in that moment in his hands. And he responded back with, "Why should I feel the pressure when I've already taken the shot 1,000 times? Why should I feel the pressure when I've already taken the shot 1,000 times?" You see, Kobe Bryant was so focused on winning, on having a greater outcome, that even when no one else was around, he continued to visualize what that outcome could be. He continued to work towards that outcome. He continued to practice the impossible shots, so that way when it came game time, it was familiar to him. And so I have to ask you, how many times did you practice that speech? How many times did you prepare for that interview? How many times did you practice that test? How many times did you get back up? How many times did you keep going after they said no? How many times did you say, yes, I'm going to get to yes? How many times did you speak up for yourself? How many times did you stand your ground? How many times did you shoot that shot? Because Kobe shot it over 1,000 times. And so by the time test time arrived, he was already familiar with what was on that test. And so as we move through life, we know that we're going to move through scenarios and situations that may feel strange and unfamiliar to us, but as we prepare and we work on our crafts, we can get to a place where maybe we can have the faith and visualize that outcome. Because with consistency and grit, there has to be more to it. You have to have the faith on the other side, and you also have to have the discipline on top of all of that. Because with discipline, there's accountability. With discipline, it means that those things that I think I need in order to help me cope emotionally, maybe I don't need those. Maybe I need to work on some of my weaknesses. Maybe I need to work on some of those areas that I've been neglecting, so they can become familiar to me when I'm going through a hard time. How many times did you shoot that shot? Because if you're not doing it 1,000 times, that's the roadmap right there. You can't beat grit and consistency. And in order to have a great outcome, you also have to have faith and discipline. You have to believe that there's something greater on the other side, and then you have to have the discipline to keep yourself in check, because you need so many hours of sleep at night so you can perform at your best. You need so many nutrients in order to keep your body functioning the way it needs to function. I'm telling you, because I've been living this life, and I'm on the other side right now, and I'm telling you, in order to get there, you need discipline. You can't just say, you know what, I'm going to sleep in, hit snooze, and then push something else off to the right, because that throws something else off, then it throws something else off. And before you know it, guess what? It's game time, and you haven't gotten the 1,000 shots in. You haven't gotten your reps in to be fully prepared to execute. And then you're on the other side asking, what happened? What went wrong? Or you're saying, I wish I would have done this differently. Well, don't be in that mindset. Get to a place where you know that it's all on the line and you work right now. What areas of your life do you need to apply discipline to? Is it your work habits? Is it how much time you're doing an excessive activity? Is it something that you're using to cope with because you're having issues with your own emotional imbalance? Like, what is it that you have to apply discipline to? You have to find it, and then you have to pour the discipline into it, because let me tell you something about strengths and weaknesses. You can have all the strengths in the world, but at some point in time, your weaknesses are going to start gnawing at your strengths. And they're going to start pulling away from who you really can be. They're going to start pulling away from your full potential because you haven't given the time and attention to the areas where you're weak at. So where is the discipline, and how are you going to apply that to that portion of your life? Because you need it if you really want to see success on the other side. And everyone's doing it for different reasons. Some people are doing it for themselves. That's great. Some people are doing it for God. They do it to advance the kingdom. Some people are doing it for their families, to leave a legacy. Whatever the reason is, apply some discipline. Give it some grit. Give it some consistency, and keep going and keep at it if you really want to see the other side. Ask yourself, how many times did you practice that game-winning shot with all the pressure is on? How many times did you visualize that? How many times did you visualize that you would make it and that you will have a great and positive outcome? Because I can tell you something about resiliency. If you practice that shot 1,000 times and you prepare the way that you need to prepare, even if you lose, you're still winning. Even if you lose, you're still in a better position than you were before you started. Whew, you want to talk about growing elasticity? How many times did you practice that shot? You can't get away from it. You need discipline. I'm giving you the keys. It's High Energy Tuesday. I love y'all, and I'm out.